Michael Jordan. What a finish! Well hit toward the gap in right center field.
Elliott very quick out of the block.
Christian Laettner comes out as hot as a firecracker.
Triple toe loop.
I'm closing up. I'm closing in. Couldn't wait for this moment to come. Couldn't wait for this day to begin. No second chance. No giving up. Because no one remembers a loser, and I don't intend to be one. Winning it all. Giving it all. No matter what you say, ain't gonna fall. Lose today. Winning it all.
And down the stretch they come. Right hand by Lewis. Fred goes down. A smashing right. They make the third. They're home now. Three-pointer.
No matter what you say, ain't gonna fall. Lose today.
In a year of winners and record breakers, 1992 also had its share of newsmakers. It was a year when new stars were born and repeat champions were crowned. A year full of flash and style. A year when fans found out that image can translate into titles and that dreams most certainly can come true. So join us as Sports Illustrated presents The Year in Sports 1992. By the time the college football season reached its climax on January 1st, two teams had broken from the pack and finished the race for number one in a dead heat.
Going into the January 1 Bowl, there were two teams left, Miami and Washington. Everybody else had fallen by the wayside.
He will go all the way. 90 yards. Great catch on the sideline from Mario Bailey. Holy cow.
Washington and Miami, both undefeated in 12 games. Two teams that staked an equal claim for the national championship with equally impressive wins on New Year's Day.
Washington's performance in the Rose Bowl really was sort of like a parade. It was a procession to the national championship.
Touchdown, Mario Bailey.
In the Orange Bowl, there was no way Miami was going to lose that game.
Touchdown, Miami.
I think if Miami and Washington had played, it would have been very close, and ultimately Miami would have outscored Washington. They would give some NFL teams a very good game.
It's a jungle out there, baby, and if you ain't ready to be in that jungle, you better go home.
It's a contact sport. It's a hit game, and it starts right here. We're doing it.
The path to the 1992 Super Bowl was as brutal and violent as ever.
Somebody wants to hit.
But amid the chaos and frenzy, a graceful beauty and elegance also took flight.
Martin makes the catch. Holy cow. What a grab. Touchdown! 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 Yes! Yes!
He breaks through at the 30, at the 35, 40, 45, midfield, one man to beat.
He's to the 5. Touchdown! Touchdown by Young. He's going to try to dive for it. He got it!
In the NFL, only the strong survive. And in the 1992 postseason, the AFC's strongest team was the Buffalo Bills.
Lets it go long down the field, and it is taken by Walton at the 30, at the 20, at the 10, at the 5. He backs in, doing a dance for the touchdown.
When you think of football and you think of the Buffalo Bills, you think of a wide open spread team that loves to have fun and loves to show it.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Dropping back against the zone, he throws Thurman Thomas.
The name of the game in football right now is killing the quarterback, disrupting the quarterback.
Perhaps then it was fitting that in the AFC Championship game, it was defense that took the Bills to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Time to get back on the top. Starting today.
In the NFC, Mark Rippon's Washington Redskins were the NFL's other dominant team.
Rolling out to the near side is Rippon, who steps up and throws it long for Clark at the 5, grabs it, touchdown, Washington Redskins.
For me, it was kind of a make or break, put up or shut up year for myself. I knew the writing was on the wall that I needed to accomplish things that I felt I could always do.
Here goes Rippon back in the end zone, got a man, touchdown.
Combining a quick strike offense with a punishing defense, the Redskins won more games than any other team in the league.
Our defense is designed to go out and be the aggressor, to go out and be the actual one doing the hitting.
Washington's domination was in force in the playoffs, and after annihilating both the Atlanta Falcons and the Detroit Lions, the Redskins were poised for their 4th trip to the Super Bowl in the last 10 seasons.
It's time for Super Bowl 26. After 2 weeks of gassing about football, we finally get to play some football. Let's get to it.
We're going to make history today. This is for real. Who we playing tomorrow? Nobody. This is it.
I think the Redskins were the most focused team I'd ever seen going into a Super Bowl. Nothing else mattered except winning. Endorsements didn't matter. Money didn't matter. Nothing mattered. All they wanted to do was win. The Bills just seemed to be a more divided group. And I think that showed a lot. And Thurman Thomas comes up and can't even find his helmet for the first 2 plays of the game. It was just, to me, not to be for the Bills.
We felt like the only way that we could make a difference in this game was to get to the quarterback. If you got there a hair late, at least knock him down and have him start looking over his shoulder and looking around to see where the rush was coming from.
For 60 minutes, the Redskins were relentless.
Johnny the pass, blitzed up the middle, has to dump it off, picked off, intercepted at the 25, to the 20, to the 15, it's Gadea to the 5, almost to the end zone, forced out of bounds to the 2.
Their mastery, total and complete.
We just didn't play a very good game, and when you don't play a very good game against a very good team, you're going to get trounced, and we did.
In lightning formation, Rippon back to pass on a quick shot, throws it in the near flat to Biner at the 5, dives to the corner, touchdown, Washington Redskins. There's the snap, Rippon hands to Riggs over the right side, touchdown, Washington Redskins.
Before he was to the 2-yard line, I was running down the field, pumping I was in a high step. Carl Lewis couldn't have caught me in the high hurdles.
Rippon runs back up the field, sprints, open his fists.
I have never seen Rippon so excited. They ain't that good, man. If you keep playing. Just got to keep playing.
Back he goes. Good protection again. Going deep. He's got Clark in the end zone. Touchdown, Washington Redskins.
The one thing that no one can take away from 47 guys I went to battle with last year and myself is the fact that we can walk around proud for a year as Super Bowl champions. And I'll wear that ring as proud as ever. No one can take that away from me, and it's in the history books right now.
The world champion Washington Redskins, winners over the Buffalo Bills, 37-24.
1992 was an Olympic year, and in February the Winter Games came to Albertville, France.
from an American perspective, probably the biggest story in the game was the fact that the American women were so successful, particularly relative to the American men. I think the U.S. won 11 medals total, 5 golds, and of those, the women won 9 of the medals and all 5 of the golds. This isn't just a short-term blip. The U.S. women, relative to the rest of the world, they're a dominating force.
Bonnie Blair trying to win gold medals in consecutive Olympics.
Bonnie Blair was the favorite in the speed skating. She won 2 gold medals. It's not easy to be a favorite.
The pride of Champaign, and the corks are probably popping in Champaign, Illinois right now.
Perhaps the most recognizable American face in Albertville belonged to one of our most surprising gold medalists, figure skater Kristi Yamaguchi.
When I first found out that I did win the gold medal, it was just a buildup of emotions inside. Just thinking, okay, this is what the early mornings and the years of sacrificing things has led to. And, you know, every bit of it was worth it. I would go through it all over again.
College basketball, the cry could be heard in arenas all over the country. This was a season to remember.
Goodness! How did he get the shot off?
The king of the hill throughout college basketball's regular season was Duke. The NCAA's defending champions started the year as the #1 ranked team in the country and didn't slip a notch all season long.
To go through a college season these days #1 is not an achievement to belittle or overlook. So many people out hunting for you.
In the finals of the NCAA's East Regional, the Hunted almost got caught by Kentucky.
Most likely the best tournament game ever.
It was so fun-filled for the fans and for everybody involved.
I'll always marvel at how many great plays so many kids made from both teams.
Ashburn for 3. Yeah! Huge basket.
The entertainment value was just unbelievable.
Back and forth the two teams went, through 40 minutes of regulation, then into overtime, where Duke clung to a 1-point lead with just seconds to play.
There was such a rush to your head, such a euphoric experience.
The first thing I think you have to tell them is, we're going to win. Whether you completely believe that or not, you have to get that in their minds. Here's what we're going to try to do.
And those players went out and that court left that hole. You just looked up to the sky and said, I can't believe this is going to happen. And then suddenly it was taken away.
I was supposed to stand in the corner and then flash to the foul line. And Grant was supposed to throw me the ball at the foul line, and that's exactly what happened.
There's the pass to Leitner. Puts it up.
Christian Leitner's turnaround jumper had kept Duke's championship hopes alive. Now all that stood between the Devils and back-to-back titles were Cincinnati, Indiana, and the Fab Five freshmen from Michigan, the 3 other schools in the Final Four.
So the tournament comes at the end of the season and you're not a freshman anymore. They played enough during the regular season. You play a Big Ten season, you played a real season of basketball.
Michigan continued that real season with a convincing win over Cincinnati and moved on to the finals where Duke awaited, fresh off a surprisingly sloppy triumph over Indiana.
The national championship game of college basketball for 1992. Michigan versus #1 and defending national champion Duke.
And what a battle this should be for the biggest jewel in men's college basketball, the NCAA National Crown.
Refusing to be intimidated by the magnitude of the moment, Michigan's freshmen battled Duke evenly throughout the first half, even posing some unexpected problems for the nation's #1 team.
You just don't realize how big Michigan is. I thought they forced a number of the turnovers. It wasn't just us throwing the ball away.
Weber behind the back to Malenga, goes up, underhand, Duke reverse, gets it. Great pass, Chris Weber.
Another reason for Duke's slow start was the dismal performance of Christian Laettner, 1992's College Player of the Year.
Sometimes a great player in baseball strikes out 3 times and then hits a home run to win the ball game, and he came out from halftime, I think, in just totally different frame of mind.
Yes! Christian Laettner!
Soon Laettner had Duke off and running, aided by the tournament's most outstanding player, Bobby Hurley, and sophomore Grant Hill.
I think Grant Hill was saying, there's a guy who's going to have to take care of business up front, and I'm going to be it. It just looks so easy, the way he slipped baseline those few times to score. And just when they needed it, he did it.
Hill put a cap on Duke's explosive second half as the Devils successfully defended their NCAA title with a 71-51 win over Michigan.
They said it couldn't be done, but Duke has done it again. And now, for the second year in a row, they wear the crown of the king.
To go wire to wire, #1, and really have 4 tough games in a row to end the NCAA tournament. It wasn't anything that was given to us. Our guys went out and earned it.
Hockey League celebrated its 75th anniversary with one of its most wide-open seasons in years. Ultimately, the cream would rise to the top as Mario Lemieux and the Pittsburgh Penguins would overcome injury and adversity to capture their second consecutive Stanley Cup.
We had the type of team that we could skate with anybody.
Lemieux takes the puck out of the Chicago and makes a move on Smith.
We could move the puck with anybody.
Big youngster, look at the moves, cuts in, and completes the play.
Take the body, play tough. This team is very tough to beat.
Tough to beat and even tougher to intimidate. On their run to the Cup, the Penguins stared down first-round elimination, coming from behind to beat the Washington Capitals. Then early in the next series against the Rangers, Lemieux went out with a broken hand.
I knew right away that I was not going to go on in that series, and it was going to take a while before I could come back and help the team.
Once more, an opponent had Pittsburgh in trouble, but the Penguins came through again, and in the process enjoyed the emergence of a new star, Jaromir Jagr.
We knew he was going to make a great play, and we made it look so easy. But when you're a great player, you make it look easy sometimes.
Lemieux himself made things look easy when he returned to action as the Penguins beat the Boston Bruins, before going on to sweep the Chicago Blackhawks to win their second straight Stanley Cup. Now it's time for our 1992 Dubious Achievement Awards, for those athletes who proved that it's not whether you win or lose, but how poorly you played the game. We begin with Tony Mandarich of the Green Bay Packers. In college, he was once dubbed the Incredible Bulk, but after 4 years of futility in the pros, he's now nothing more than the Incredible Bust. this former New York Jet gets his award for discovering it's a lot more fun to hit quarterbacks than it is to hit the canvas. Hitting a Little League low was the Philippine team, who ripped its way to a world championship only to have it stripped away for using ineligible players. An award for spending the most for the least goes to the Red Sox, the Dodgers, and the Mets. 3 teams that dished out big bucks for players who were big disappointments. Postseason honors are proudly awarded to the U.S. Marines, who are still looking for a few good men who know a flag that's right side up from one that's upside down. Our final award goes to Dan O'Brien. After failing to make the Olympic team, Dan never did get a chance to answer that question of who's the world's greatest athlete. Catch you next time, Dan. In 1992, the NBA gave us more of what we've come to expect from the world's greatest athletes. Once again, expectations ran highest in Chicago, where the Bulls were out to defend the title they won the previous year. With Michael Jordan again being named the league's MVP, the Bulls breezed through the season with the NBA's best record. But the playoffs were tougher, especially Chicago's second-round matchup with Pat Riley and the New York Knicks.
The way to beat the Bulls was to pound them and hope that they would come apart. There was a lot of talking going back and forth between the teams.
I think he stuck his tongue out at him.
The Knicks fed on it.
A lot of it was born out of emotion and hunger, and the other half of it was born out of the fact that I don't think Chicago respected us at all.
In the NBA, respect is earned. And in a violent 7-game series, the Knicks tried to get it the old-fashioned way by playing tenacious defense.
There were a few hits that were a little harder, but when you're playing for a world championship, aggressiveness is defined as the disposition to dominate your opponent.
Starks took Pippen down on a very ugly play. He was coming for the jugular vein. They were pulling all stops out. We knew then that it was going to be a 7-game series all the way.
They didn't scare us, but they woke us up.
Held somewhat in check through 6 games, Jordan owned the 7th.
I was very confident before Game 7. And when the time came for me to step on the basketball court, I wanted to play so well. I wanted to win.
Guy was not going to let his team lose at Chicago Stadium that day. He's just too good.
Jordan's intensity, along with his 42 points, led the way in the Bulls' 29-point rout. And with New York vanquished, Chicago eventually moved on to the finals.
Game 1 of the NBA Finals is between the Portland Trail Blazers and your Chicago Bulls.
What time is it?
Just play the game, we'll referee. Have a good game, guys.
The first one went down, and the second one, I said, it's a tough shot. That went down.
Jordan again from three-point land.
After he hit his 4th or 5th or 6th one in a row, looks over at Magic Johnson, who's doing the commentary, and shrugs his shoulders and go, I don't know what's going on either.
Jordan's incredible run of 6 straight three-pointers keyed Chicago's Game 1 win.
I'm not sure if Danny has tipping off the box. See what he can do. See if he can score.
Portland then fought back to even the series in Chicago, but the Bulls were tough on the road.
One of the true marks of a champion has been this ability to enjoy humiliating the opponent's fans and putting it back in their face in Game 3.
Jordan with the save.
The Bulls won twice in Portland.
Locked out, locked out.
Even overcoming a Jordan injury to emerge with a win in Game 5.
That was a real decisive game for us. We thought we dispirited the Portland Trailblazers.
Still, Game 6 would be an uphill climb, as the Bulls had to rally in the fourth quarter to overcome a large Portland lead.
You got into the situation where you got some momentum going now. Just keep playing hard.
Playing for the title in front of their home crowd, the Bulls followed the lead of seldom-used Bobby Hansen to give them the momentum they needed to win the title once again. Without a doubt, the most compelling story of the NBA season was the emotional saga of Magic Johnson. His sudden retirement due to the HIV virus had barely sunk in before Johnson was back on the court again, performing his magic at the NBA All-Star Game.
You could have called up the most schmaltzy Hollywood writer in the world. I mean, the guy would not have come up with this scenario.
In low to Magic. Magic again tries to back Rodman in turn. Oh, my! Talk about the competition. You see it when it comes back. It's in his eyes. He wants to win.
When Irvin came out in that particular game and played the kind of game that he played, they realized that he could still play, and he was still great.
Three-pointer! Yes!
After much speculation, Johnson decided to return to the NBA. But in November, after attempting a comeback, he retired again, officially ending a career that began in 1979. Magic's timing was ironic. Just 2 months earlier, a longtime rival had said farewell to his career.
We figured up I played over 1,100 games for the Celtics. It sounds like a lot of games, but I probably played that many in my backyard before I got here. So, I would like to play a little bit longer, maybe a year or two more, but there's just no way possible I was going to be able to do that. So today I'm retiring, and as far as I'm concerned, I gave my heart, my body, and my soul to the Celtics, and you guys will never have to bother me again.
For 13 seasons, Larry Bird was the Boston Celtics' conscience and savior. A 3-time world champion, a 3-time league MVP, perhaps the purest player the game has ever known.
The competition, night in, night out. It was not a better feeling than going out there and playing against some of the best basketball players in the world and going home feeling like you did your job that night. I played basketball one way, and that was as hard as I possibly could. For some reason, inside my body, I don't know what would happen, but I go to the next level. I could take my game to the next level just off the roar of the crowd. And I'd done it numerous of times in the Garden. That's why I used to go to them a lot and say, hey, let's get it fired up in here. Because I knew once I got out there, my game would go to the next level. Emotionally, it's very tough because I'm giving up something that I've been doing for a lot of years. I love to play basketball. I've always enjoyed practicing. I've always enjoyed trying to make myself better. If I had a healthy back right now, I'd play for nothing.
For 16 days in July and August, the athletes of the world assembled once more, this time at the Summer Olympics in Barcelona, Spain. Even with all the great stars, most of the world still focused its attention on the Dream Team. USA Basketball's unparalleled collection of NBA stars that punished its opponents on the way to the most expected gold medal of the games.
The Dream Team is I think, undoubtedly the best assemblage of talent that there has ever been. I don't think we'll see a team nearly like that again, and maybe for the rest of the basketball world, it's a good thing.
There were, of course, other exceptional athletes competing and winning in Barcelona, like America's Gail Devers, the women's 100-meter champion.
I had no idea where I even was in the race. I didn't know if I was first or last. We look at the replay screen, we still can't tell. They show the photo finish, we still can't tell.
The United States displayed its track and field dominance with stirring performances throughout the Olympics. Leading the way in defense of the heptathlon gold she had won in Seoul was Jackie Joyner-Kersee.
It was just a great feeling, and to see that flag going up, slowly going up to the top, this was a very, very special moment, not only for me, but for America.
Another special U.S. Olympic performer was Carl Lewis, who won the long jump as well as a gold medal in anchoring the men's 4x100-meter relay team.
We're ahead when they're about 6 feet. It's Lewis in first place for the United States. Cuba is second place. Nigeria says Lewis walks away with the victory.
That 30 seconds from the time I received that baton to running my 10 seconds running my leg, winning it, and then looking back or looking up and seeing the clock that it was a world record was unbelievable, about the best 30 seconds I've ever had.
That was a very galvanizing moment. It brought Carl Lewis's career into perspective that really, in fact, this was the greatest sprinter in the history of man.
In the end, Barcelona reminded us of the joy of winning and in the great spectacle of the Olympic Games. As 1992 dawned, Mike Tyson was still the most feared heavyweight in the world. For 7 years, his ominous presence and unrestrained fury had terrorized opponents in the ring. But on February 10th, Mike Tyson was convicted of rape and in March sentenced to 6 years in jail, leaving boxing fans to ponder whether or not Tyson will ever fight again. Still, even without Mike,
1992 was an exciting year in boxing.
I want a rematch with Tommy. You want me, baby? Come and get me. I want you. I want you.
Wilson, goes Hearns.
The doctor looking at him. He's a dead man.
You might tell the black folks in South Africa what to say and when to say it, but you don't tell me what to say and when to say it.
Ball lands to right twice more. We've got a first-round brawl, and Pierre Kutzer is getting hit too much.
Holmes is talking to our camera. He says, I'm not Tommy Morrison.
We saw guys who could punch.
There he goes. Hooper goes down.
And Mike White goes down. Right hand to the body. Craddock in trouble. Second knockdown of round 2.
And we saw some fights that were a lot closer than we would have liked.
Don't stand right in front of the guy. Jimmy Williams is right. Both eyes are closing on Foreman. Stewart's got a big chance here now.
Alex Stewart could punch. Gave me a nosebleed. You don't like that at my age.
Another right hand and another knockdown.
And you can be certain you haven't seen the last of George Foreman yet.
in 1992, fans saw 3 fighters who are among boxing's elite.
There are no frills with Terry Norris. He's in there to beat you and beat you just as quickly as he can.
Overhand right. Taylor wobbly. Norris with another solid right. Meldrick is woozy on the ropes. Second knockdown. Here comes Terry Norris to try to finish him off. He's very close to stopping it, and there it is.
Terry Norris's domination of Meldrick Taylor and Julio Cesar Chavez's systematic destruction of Hector Macho Camacho were 2 of the most impressive boxing performances of the year.
Still champion Julio Cesar Chavez.
But the fighter of the year was undoubtedly Riddick Bowe. His dramatic win over a courageous Evander Holyfield was one for the record books.
and Bo stuns him with an uppercut. And just like that, the champion struggles to stay on his feet. What a heart by Holyfield.
He's going to stay on his feet.
He's hanging in there. Look at Holyfield. What a warrior. Reversing the tide of the battle. The champion now has Bo wobbling. Oh, Holyfield in serious trouble now.
Bo has got to be cool trying to finish him, though.
There's the uppercut again. The mouthpiece is out of Holyfield's mouth. And he's going to go down.
New heavyweight champion of the world, Riddick.
He leaps and makes a great catch. Great play by Stankiewicz. McRae is back, and it is caught. And on one hop, there's the Wizard.
As baseball reached its stretch drive in 1992, the focus was not on the game's 4 less than thrilling pennant races, but rather on 2 of the sport's venerable stars and their quest for 3,000 hits. The first to reach the milestone was Robin Yount.
He got it. It's a hit.
Then came George Brett, who reached his goal in the final week of a season that really came alive in the playoffs. The Toronto Blue Jays took on the Oakland A's in the American League Championship Series, where Oakland managed to surprise the Jays by coming away with a split of the first 2 games at Skydome. But led by Roberto Alomar, the Jays took 2 of 3 in Oakland and wrapped up the series by winning Game 6 at home. In the National League, all signs pointed to another competitive series between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Atlanta Braves. And like the year before, the 2 teams battled through 7 exciting games. The climax to the series came in the bottom of the 9th of Game 7, when the Braves rallied from 2 runs down, and in the process created an unlikely hero.
That's the great thing about baseball. It comes down to a third-string catcher coming up in the 9th inning of the last game of the playoffs.
And now the Braves season hangs in the balance as Francisco Cabrera comes to the plate to bat for the pitcher.
Nobody ever heard of Frankie Cabrera.
Now the 2-1. Line drive and a base hit. Justice has scored the tying run. Reed to the plate. And he is safe. Safe at the plate. The Braves go to the World Series.
For the first time ever, the World Series would include a team from outside the United States. The ultimate in America's game had crossed the border.
Berryhill with a deep drive to right. On the way to the wall. Winfield, forget about it. Here comes Alomar. Berryhill to Smoltz, and he is...
Game 2 was going to the Braves. They led 4-3 in the 9th, when Jeff Reardon came on to finish off the Jays and Ed Sprague.
I was happy that Cedar went to me in that situation, showed some confidence in me when I got the pitch I was looking for.
Well hit to left field. To the wall, Deion Sanders. Home run, Ed Sprague.
Off the Jays' 5-4 comeback win in Game 2, the teams moved indoors to Toronto Skydome, which became the scene of one of the greatest catches in World Series history.
Well hit to center field. Devon White racing back to the warning track. Great pitch up against the wall. And the runners passed each other. Pendleton went by Sanders. He has already been called out. Now they have Sanders in a rundown with a chance for a triple play. Gruber did not get it.
I
don't have to go black and white film anymore to find the greatest catch in World Series history. It's in color, and Diehl made it.
Devon White's catch did what Mays' catch did in the 54 series. Mays stopped the Indians with that one catch in 54, and Devon White may have stopped the Braves from coming back.
Game 3 went to the Jays, who won it with a run off Jeff Reardon in the ninth. Toronto took Game 4 as well, but lost Game 5. So the Jays had to go back to Atlanta after missing an opportunity to win the series at home.
Everyone had to kind of regroup and say, hey, we got to bear down right here. We got to take this game right here.
I knew we were going to have to turn it up a notch because we didn't want it to go to 7 games. Anything could happen.
Actually, both teams turned it up a notch in a game that would eventually become a World Series classic.
Otis Nixon, the batter. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. Runners at first and second. The Blue Jays 1 strike away from the World Championship. The 0-2 pitch. Slap to the left side. A hit. Bowser's been waved in. Maldonado's throws over everything. It's a tie ball game.
The place was alive. You have to hand it to the Blue Jays, but they said they were more energized after that inning than they had been the entire game.
And lined into center field ahead.
As Toronto began a rally in the 11th, Brave fans looked for a sign that Charlie Leibrandt would be the right man to stop Dave Winfield.
Bobby Cox was really up a creek at that point. He had Charlie Leibrandt on the mound, who had blown the World Series last year. But standing out there in the bullpen was Jeff Reardon, who had blown 2 games earlier in the series. But Charlie Leibrandt was not the right guy to be pitching to Dave Winfield at that time.
I worked the count to 3 and 2. Guys were off and running.
The runner's going.
I was able to reach out and hit it hard past Pendleton.
On the 3-2 to Winfield. Down the line, a base hit. Into the left field corner. It's a 2-run double for Dave Winfield. And a 4-2 Toronto lead.
In the bottom of the inning, the Jays held off one final Atlanta rally.
For the first time in history, the World Championship banner will fly north of the border. The Toronto Blue Jays are baseball's best in 1992.
It's no accident that 1992 also had its share of forgettable moments.
We'll put that right on tape, though.
Awful.
My God, I can't believe we blew that play. What the hell is that? Yeah, baby! Yeah!
1992 was a year of personal triumph for many of sport's most recognizable champions.
We were born to be champions, born to be champions.
We were born to be champions, born to be champions.
You can tell by the feeling, you can see it in the glow.
This magic we are feeling is what we were meant to know. We were born to be champions.
I have known since the time of my brain operation in September 1988 that I have AIDS. I have been an activist on many issues in the past and will certainly get involved with the AIDS crisis.
We were born to be champions.
This has been a presentation of HBO Sports, a division of Time Warner Entertainment.